All right, hello, my name is Andrew Thompson. This is Rick Paris, Elizabeth Jackson. This is Conscious Reality Creator. Today we're talking about generating and sustaining energies. It's a video we put out last week. If you're interested in watching that video, the link is above. But I'm going to hand it over to Rick, and Rick's going to talk us through just a sum up of what generating and sustaining energies are. So take it away, Rick.
Well, we spoke about them in detail in the last recording. I do want to say something that many of our videos are fantastic information, and it's very leading edge information. And anywhere you start, if you hear us talk about something, go to that video next. If this is the first time you've heard this, just go to the video and it'll make sense and you'll enjoy yourself and you'll get more information that's very leading edge in the new spiritual movement. So anyways, sustaining energies and generating energies are quite different, right? Generating energy is kind of a spark that ignites reality. A sustaining energy is more like the fuel of the fire. And so they're very specific energies. And so we've talked about those already. So I'm not going to talk about those as much as we're going to talk about those now and how that video has impacted their lives.
I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this video came about because we all talk to each other a lot throughout the week, and even though I'm part of making this channel, every week when the videos happen, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, this is so pertinent to my life, and it's always just like so right on, which would be sort of the way the magical universe does work when you're tuned into it. So we were on the phone, and I was telling Rick, my gosh, what I really got from watching the generating and sustaining energies video was I'm now doing it. I'm actually living, generating and sustaining energies, but I wasn't cognizant of it. So the example what I was telling him was, 2 years ago I did a 3-month program with Rick, and even towards the end of my program, one of the things that I felt was unresolved, I was like, well, what about this person? Sometimes I stay in bed. And I feel like I'm supposed to be doing stuff, and then I feel lazy, and then I'm kind of in a black hole, and then I feel like, wow, how did I not get the energy to get my day going? And then I have all this guilt and shame about the fact that I stayed in bed like a loser. And I remember you didn't really I don't know what you were thinking when I was telling you, but I could tell you well, not important. I think he knew that would fall away if I just did the stuff that he was already drawing my attention to. So long story short, I'm such a babbler. Are you still following? So basically, I'm cracking myself up now.
You haven't unsubscribed now, have you?
Okay, so basically, I lost my train of thought. So I was talking about generating sustaining. So this person that I thought was so lazy and not motivated and this and that, I was always trying to correct it because I had a lot of guilt and shame about not being disciplined enough to be getting my day going. And I was telling him, but right now I'm at a point in life where all of a sudden I could look back and that person is gone. I didn't ever know when that transition happened, but it did. And by watching the video, I was like, oh my gosh, because I'm employing responsibility and ownership and discipline. I just didn't know I was. And I think that the difference also is that because I learned to live a life of values, I was choosing my life based out of preference and consciously going after things that are feeding me, that are the right things for me, then it became easy for me to become disciplined about my life. Because before that point, before I became conscious, before I met Rick, I'm just doing stuff that it's I'm a martyr, or it's duty, it's obligation, it's my job because I need to make money, and I'm doing this thing because I said yes, because I,
It's an inner slave driver.
Yes, inner slave driver. But now that that's gone, it's it's actually easy for me to be sustaining my energies because it's stuff I love, I want it. And part of what you said was that person died,
Yeah.
and you need to grieve that person. So tell me what was behind that? Because I never heard that from you, where you're that girl's dead now and you need to grieve her.
Well, part of what's difficult about this stuff is I have inundated myself in this belief construct for just about 30 years. I have so much experience in understanding what makes a human being tick. And so I honestly feel like I could always keep giving you something new. I really feel that honestly, no matter how many questions, how many people, I'm always going to have something new to say, because conscious reality is a revolutionary, revolving, evolving experience of being what it is to move myself into a consistently operating God being. And so I only say what I'm inspired to say. I don't have a memory. It's not like I'm pulling things out of my memory to share. I'm just sharing whatever you bring up. So if you don't bring it up, I don't even think about it until you bring it up, and I'm like, oh, I see what's going on. You haven't killed that person, because that's something we're going to talk about in another video. Because as you grow and change quicker, you need to be able to change your image of yourself. You have to see yourself as a different person after you heal. And so that's an important part of conscious reality, to move that cube. So I just knew right away. I just hear the problem. When somebody talks to me, I just hear it and then I say it. So I think lots of times I'm just going to always say things. You're like, I never heard that before.
So then, I don't know if we're going to get into this then for this video, but why
I think
is it
we
important
should
for me
keep
to
going
grieve?
and assume that we're always...
You know what I mean? Like when you said, like, she's dead now, and that's just a statement that I could be like recognizing and thinking that's awesome. But you said, but now you have to grieve her. So
Yeah.
why?
Because the person you were, no matter... Oof, this is hard to answer. Let me just say it like this. You're always in a constant continuum. There's a person that exists, and I have a lesser and greater, my best self. When you move through that continuum and you hit over here, when you get to that perceived best self, that best self is going to feel very limited, because it has ran out of space on a specific continuum. So right now, my best self would have this and this and this and that. And then when you get there, at that time, you feel very restricted.
Because you hit the edge.
You hit the end of a perception. Now, that perception was beautiful at one time. But I outgrew it, because that perception is a static experience.
So what you're actually telling me is that I'm at the edge right now, so I need to kill this
exactly.
whole thing off and move forward. I didn't even get that. I was just like, let's kill her.
And that's what you're talking about with the revolution, right? Because even with you've probably killed yourself a few times.
Many times.
Right? Yeah,
literally, I've killed myself.
You literally died.
But I mean, that's how hardcore I am.
Yeah.
I mean, as a person, I just fucking push, man. I just feel like if I was a fish, I'd be a salmon. I'm upstream, hardcore, and I'm going to get there. I'm not even not going to get there. It's like, I feel like that energy. And so, yeah, there's many times I've had to kill myself. And that's why I can tell you it's time for you to kill yourself. And I recognize what's going on, right? And at the same time, I tell you ahead of time, you have to grieve her, because in order to grieve them, you have to understand all what was good when you're fully feeling restricted by the self.
Well, is the grief...
You grieve the good that whole system got you into this new system. And as much as I've outgrown it, I still have to love that part of me and go, thank you so much. I leave you now. I release from you now.
Yeah, and I think the
there's
main
a
thing
freedom.
I'm thankful for is, without having that perspective, I wouldn't have that like deep sense of gratitude for me.
Yeah.
Like, because now I know what it's like to go after life because you want to.
And you see, now you're generating the
I saw
new
her
experience.
Not do it, right? And so it's like, yeah, I know.
You're generating the new experience with the gratitude over grieving.
Back to this energies. Yeah.
Yeah, because
wait. So say that again. So the grieving allows you to release, right?
Well,
That's
grieving is a process of release.
Of releasing.
It's very similar
past.
to the forgiveness process, by the way.
A 7-step process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, grieving, they say 5. 7 for forgiveness. But the grieving process, Kubler-Ross came up with that. I think they're the ones that really worked on it, whether they came up with it or not. But there's a process, just like a process is getting from one place to another. To go up a flight of stairs is a process to get me from the first floor to the second floor. So you're moving through processes all the time, everywhere in your life, because that's how vibration works. It works in a process.
So just like someone's loved one dies. The whole
Yeah.
purpose of the grieving process is because you have to now live a whole new life.
Yes,
That,
a life that you had not imagined.
yeah, because the other person died, but you have to now, without them, if you were close especially, have to
live a
become
life
new person.
even better than the one I had with
Right.
you.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, okay, you know what? Otherwise, what are you?
Yeah.
Oh, that was the love of my life. They're gone.
And I'm just going to float
done.
now for the rest of my
yeah,
life.
and you're
just get
and they
through.
do. They just
Yeah.
they tank.
Well, I think it's the whole point of like the fact that you always say evolution is always moving forward. Like
Yes.
you might not want to stay
So
back,
you've grieved.
but it's always going forward.
You've grieved yourself many times.
Yeah.
Does it get as you more you keep
No,
does
but
it get
yeah.
easier,
After a while,
like-
it's a process, and you know the process. It's like the first time if you play a musical instrument, you're looking at the keys, you're doing your notes, you're trying to get the strum down right, and then you got it.
Yeah.
Once you understand, oh shit, it's time to grieve myself again. Okay, all right. Oh, I see. You were a champion, dude. You know what? You were beautiful, and I saw how great you were. And I also saw all the struggle that you did. I saw that you had a lot of pain during your process from the last time I went through this.
Yeah.
And so, you see, that's how you release. You don't release by negative judging something and trying to separate it from it. It needs a
'cause that's
process.
why I couldn't get out of it. I never tried to understand what I was doing or to try to change it. It was just a beating. Like, don't be like that. You shouldn't be
Reframe,
like this.
yeah.
Well, it wasn't
Separate,
reframing.
like-
It was negatively
Yeah,
judging
negative
and
judging.
like just pushing myself down, which is what would you call that? Anyways, like abusing yourself.
Slave driver. That's what I said earlier. It's the slave driver,
Yeah.
the inner critic, the adolescent.
Oh, yeah,
it's the
yeah.
adolescent created that to keep you like on target.
Well, no, and I still have a bit of that going. So it's like that's been the pattern of me when I want to make change. It's a pattern of I have to go through some sort of to get back to feeling good. I got to go through some sort of punishment, right? Something I got to go through a trial, a punishment,
Yeah, well,
some
that's
barrier, a boundary.
Everybody's going through struggle when they first learn how to grow.
So you're just
That
whipping
struggle.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, like I gotta create a problem, go through a bunch of problems, solve problem, get result. That's what you've been taught. That's a way to grow. But the thing is, after you understand growth as a conscious interaction with myself and all the parts of myself, now why do I need to do that? I'm
Yeah.
listening to myself. I'm watching myself in the reality, in the loved one, separate from me. I'm like, oh, what am I not doing? Let me pay. No, what are you doing? Where are you going? Why are you doing that? You're acting weird. That is not understanding conscious reality, Gray. You're like, I'm separating from you. You look weird to me right now. That's my problem.
Yeah.
Not something to shame you for and
Yeah,
try to
yeah,
get
yeah.
you to act different because of the way I'm feeling. It's like, it has to always go back in. And so, I want to get back over at the moment because generating requires a certain type of process. To begin a process needs an energy. And see, that energy has to be free and not very much responsibility.
Wait, so say that
That's
again.
what a generating
So it's-
energy is.
Okay,
It's
okay.
not a lot of responsibility. Discipline is a lot of responsibility.
Yes.
Commitment, lot of responsibility. Intimacy, lot of responsibility. Love, lot of responsibility. Love can also be like not a lot of responsibility.
Right.
Right? That's why it's sustaining and generating. Trust, a lot of responsibility. But if I don't have that much responsibility, I can't generate anything because I don't really trust what's going on here.
So are you saying though that you start because I mean just through some of the things that I'm working through, because it's a good point to bring it in, is I've generated a lot. It's like a big idea, something new. It's like, oh, it's when through my process when it was high school, it was all about the car, it was all about the girl, it was all about being popular, being up front.
Right.
So it was always these things to get me going, right? Get me going. But then I'm dangling a carrot out for me, but then I'm like whipping myself
Yeah,
behind
well,
as
that's
well.
the thing, because the carrot isn't really a carrot.
It's a fantasy.
You have to whip yourself to go after something that's not real.
And where do you think
Because
that-
where am I going to get the motivation?
Yeah.
No value.
Yeah.
The only thing I can take is somebody else's value and go, that's what you want. That's what I want.
I see something that you've received from.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna
exactly.
adapt that.
I need that.
Yeah, and then shame myself if I don't. Right?
Well,
to keep
because
my-
I need that, but what is it? It's a form. Well, physical form needs function to exist. And so if I beat myself long enough and focus on something long enough, that's still an emotionality that'll make that thing come.
But you're motivating off of what? What's the emotion?
That's what I'm saying. It's the adolescent. That's why it has to be a form. The adolescent isn't going after functions. They're not trying to feel their way and go, wow, you look weird to me today. I need to look at that. Why am I not seeing you and like I was yesterday? It's like, you see the adult. That's why this generating energies are sparks that start. And you're saying, well, I couldn't sustain. Because the adolescent hates discipline. The adolescent hates commitment. The adolescent hates ownership. We don't want to own anything in the world. We should all own the world together.
But wouldn't you say it's
no
also
responsibility?
Super problematic because a lot of sparks people are generating are coming from the adolescent. Is that what you just said? Though?
Well, yeah, let me...
But
that's why they don't sustain.
Like, I have a dream to be writing a book. And it's like, well, maybe you have a dream to write a book, or maybe you have a dream to make your dad proud of you, or for people to think you're important. And so how can you generate...
And see, what'll happen is you'll have to jump through hoops because of the way you're designed to go after something that is not mine.
Right.
I have to beat myself to go after something that's not mine. I will get it when I beat myself enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Eventually, you're either going to break yourself or you're going to get it.
But I'll have to gone through so much pain.
By the time you get it,
there.
there's no value. Exactly.
It's empty.
I beat the shit out of myself. Now I'm like, whatever, it doesn't feel that good to me because there's no function to begin with.
Right.
All you did was you beat yourself into submission.
Turn myself into a slave.
Yeah.
To get what I...
And then you look back and you're like, wow, I had to lie, I had to cheat, I had to steal. A couple times I was really fuck some people over to get here. And but you know what? That's what it takes.
And it's the ceiling too, right? Because if I am coming at it adolescent, there isn't this and better.
Because,
right? It's just that's the ceiling of what I'll get after I beat myself long enough, right? So the thing that I would want to say is it turns over. So for me, it was all of these things in high school. It was like I was saying, it was the girlfriend and the car and money. And then at that point, and then when I got out of high school, it became my education. It became, something, my job, my career. And then when I became spiritual, when I felt I touched into something, a spiritual awakening, then it became, this meditation practice.
The only reason you went to college is because they scared you that you wouldn't have those things unless you went to school some more.
Yeah. If I don't.
Because it used to be you just had to go to 12 grades and go be what you want. Then it was 4 grades, and it was 6 grades, then it was 7 grades, and now it's like 25 grades.
All the way to,
they're just following the same old master. And the thing is, if you're in school for 50 years, you don't even know. By the time you're 50, you don't even care that you're not fulfilled. I could be a professor, they'll hire me.
And that's what debt is then, right, too? Because the student loan debt a lot of people take on, that I took on, is the debt of the slave.
Exactly,
because I'm being a slave driver. I'm slave driving myself, so the reflection shows up in form as debt. Student loan debt, and then I get out of college and I think I have this bright career, but now I got to go get in line and just go to survive, pay those bills, pay off that debt.
People are used to motivating themselves that way. That's why it works. But eventually you either get it or you break yourself. Right now our country's breaking itself. This is where the entitlement. I busted my ass. I should have what you have. We should all be even.
And we're saying, but it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Because it didn't work, and it worked for some people.
So I'll beat myself
you
harder.
Guys need to give back to us.
So can you walk
me
through your thing though? Because I think before we started this video, you were like, because for me sometimes it's hard to sustain. I'm really good at generating. So walk me through. What are you always generating, or what are you trying to
I really
generate
think these videos should just be
long-term?
exactly what we're doing, and no real editing. I mean, maybe some, but I like it. There's so many anchors going out there for other videos, and later when they tie things together, I know by my own mind what's happening here. It's documented, and I really feel like these should be open, free. This is just us and our relationship.
Well, and that's why I think the lives...
And if they don't, I don't care, dude. We are putting something out there that is truly valuable.
Well, and that's why I think the lives will be badass, because it is this off the cuff, but it's also people get to join that, right? Yeah. We're just sitting here having wine, hanging out, doing our thing. But if we can bring people into that.
What he's touching on, though, is that I was trying to bring it back to the structure.
That's what I didn't catch that.
Rick has said stuff like, no, just let it fucking roll. And then I'm like, well, people need a structure.
Let's get back on point.
Yeah. All right.
And I'm like, we've just been just beautiful. And I'm like, you're going to play all this. I would rather see them seeing us go like, see us, how we interact, how we do things together, because that's where the value is.
It's a vlog on a couch.
Well, but I mean, what you were saying to get to go to like, okay, now you want to sustain, right? Because I've been like generating, and I'm like, fuck yeah, and you guys have seen me.
Yeah, and then you want a better carrot.
What's that?
I didn't feel all that. Let me get a better carrot.
Yeah. Let me go for something bigger or something
Yeah.
more, right? But what I've done is I've not been able to sustain things. Like it'll last for maybe a week, it'll last for 2 weeks, sometimes maybe just 3
Same
days.
thing we talk about. You go like 7 days, 14 tops, and you're like,
right, and then it just
I
starts,
don't know what's going
starts
on.
falling off. So one of the values I took on is discipline. And what I'm understanding discipline, the metaphor that we used on the other video is like you push yourself out of the dock on a canoe to go across the lake. Your goal is to get across the lake. The first shove is going to be what generates, but if I don't do anything from that point, I'm just going to kind of drift. The discipline is the renewal of that every time I put the paddle in and I go from each side and I keep paddling there. It's a renewal of that choice. And each time I do it, this is how I'm understanding it. Each time I do it, it starts sinking in a little bit deeper until I finally get to my destination. The way my adolescent has seen discipline is I have to force myself because I'm still, that's the whole idea is like, I have to do this.
That's
I have
the old
to sit
way
down.
to see it.
And that's the slave driver, right?
The adolescent is the old way of seeing.
So then I'll jump in then, since we're on this new off the cuff program.
Oh, now she's like,
okay, now I'm released.
No, I understand.
Do you think that, because you take on a lot of values, like you have a new one every time I fucking talk to you. Is this like good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel it's really good because it's helping me.
Because I feel like, how are you maintaining all of these? Do you
all
know
my
what I mean?
values?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, for instance, when I went to our last moon gathering, I chose one that I'm going to focus on the most tonight.
Oh, just
you get what I'm saying? Yeah, because I'm renewing them all, and I have them all written on my whiteboard. And I sit there, and each morning I look through it, and this is the discipline that's helped me do it too, is keep renewing, coming back and saying, okay, it's trust, it's authenticity, it's empowerment, it's love, and now it's discipline onto the end of that, right? So I renew that, but then if there's something I'm going into where a value has more particular impact, meaning the night coming to the full moon gathering, I knew the choice I wanted to be more intimate and open, but that's going to take courage. And so I knew it was, okay, courage is the value that I'm really going to focus on tonight. So whatever comes my way, that's why when Rick pointed out at the moon gathering, he's like, hey, maybe you open the circle. I recognized it was like, oh, this is my creation. I wanted to be courageous, so I'm just going to do it. It happened all kind of weird after, but it didn't matter as I took the value and then applied it. So that's how I go about it. I don't know if you have any other thoughts or any other ways to approach it, but that's how I kind of look at it.
No, I think that's good. That's spot on.
I brought it up
I mean, I understand. You see, there's two kind of modalities for people. They're option-based people or procedural-based people.
Oh, I'm procedural.
I see. Which was like, let's get back on track here.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the format.
You're procedural. You're like the person that says, what do you want done? Here's a list, 1 through 10. Get this done. You'd be like, 1, 2, 3.
I love lists.
Right, but he'd be like, oh man, I'll do 10 first.
Yeah.
I'll do 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll do
true.
4.
It's true.
And
That's
then
how
I'll
I
do
approach
6.
things.
They won't just, they'll like kind of get through it in their own way.
Yeah.
Where a procedure person will get a way that you're supposed to get through it. Like 1 through 10 is for a reason they put them in 1 through 10. It's like a procedural person, that's just the way they're wired.
But
so in the management problems between them, by the way, it's very difficult usually because one person has a way.
Right.
And
but I wonder though, because if I'm headed from 4 on the Enneagram to 1, isn't the 1 very procedural based?
Well, this is what she was talking to you earlier on. You need to start moving to 1.
Yeah.
You already are creative.
Yeah.
Now I have to get rubber has to hit the road. I have to commit to what it is I'm going to build.
Yeah, bring it down home so it's not just
part of doing this together is like to be committed to this. This is our thing. This isn't Rick's thing because this is our thing, right? Because now you've got something to sustain you.
No wonder I'm even telling you to go to 1 because I'm already procedural.
Yeah.
And I like the 1.
Because you have your 1.
The 1 is like,
very
yes or
easy.
no.
Yes.
Very easy
Left or
done.
right.
The machine says this and it makes sense. Just do it.
So then in my approach to my values, should I actually start looking at it differently and not be so option-based, or is it still
No,
a good
you have
space?
to only make that choice
Self-author,
emotionally.
yeah.
You see, you're already taking it apart. Like, which one should I?
Yeah.
You can't say that now. You
Yeah.
have to have a feeling and then
say
label
what,
that feeling. Maybe you have a feeling and you can see, you know what, I think that's this one. I like that feeling. That's discipline.
See, but here, and this is the thing, because I'll even just apply this to my, editing and stuff. I don't approach edits always the same. I don't have a procedure that I go through every single time. I do have a format that you've seen that we, the way we organize, the way I have a first procedure I go through, but when it comes to the creative process, sometimes I'll start at the end. and I'll just start, and I'll build a sequence there. I'm like, I know this, but then I'll pop it to the beginning and build the intro.
Because you see a real powerful ending, and you're like, let me build around that.
Let me get an emotion going, so then I get a feeling that, but then this will connect here.
Yeah.
So
that's options thinking.
Well, I just brought it up because I find that I took on 2 values recently.
She has a way of
so
multitasking was.
So I was like, no, I want to just focus on one value until I have it second nature, and that's a good program for me for now.
For a procedural person, that's the perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
But you're headed to the 4.
Yeah.
Which is maybe going to be more loose. I mean, you don't have to leave your procedures, but I'm just the same way I'm looking at my 1 is like, okay, that's going to be more.
And for those of you that don't know what the hell they talk about, 1, 4, 6, 7, 8, that's the Enneagram. But we're going to do a whole series on that.
Yeah,
so
but I'm very
soon.
procedural about that. It'll be
because
very
it's numbered 9, 1, 2. It's easy. But anyway, so just throw that out there.
Yeah, good.
Cool. I mean, that's it for me. That's all I'm working on is sustaining. Like, that's my main thing right now is just to keep sustain. Coming back to my values.
But see, now you understand and it makes sense. Now you know what to do in order to sustain. And it will sustain.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to go, damn.
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't figure out why I never keep my motivation. Why don't I stay motivated? Stay motivated. Why don't I? What's wrong with me? You know, it's
Why
it's just not understanding what paint to use to get the picture on the canvas.
Oh, and I even remember too, because I think this is probably common for a lot of people. My parents used to say, my mom would say, "You're like your dad. It's hard for him to stick with things."
That's
so young. That's like, so that becomes a set that I have trouble sticking with.
Yeah, and every time you see your mom get mad at your dad for not following through, inside you're like, I'm just like him.
Yes, exactly.
She doesn't like that about me either.
I'll share something then, because this is still related to my earlier story. I remember like the first time I ever went to a therapist. I think I was like 22.
You've been to a therapist?
I know, right? Shamans are cooler. But I was like 22. I went to like a therapist. It was actually a hypnotist to quit smoking.
Oh my God. Did you really go through hypnotism?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So anyways, so she was like, well, what areas do you want to work on in your life? And I said, well, I'm really lazy. And then she says, okay, well, tell me more. So I was telling her why I was lazy. And then by then she was like, I don't think that you're lazy. I think that you were told you were lazy.
Yeah,
but I think that you just don't have anything you're passionate about. And that did stick with me. And now that I've lived it out, it's true. I wasn't doing anything I really loved, and so therefore, why would I be motivated? But the minute I aligned my life by my choice, I have the energy. Like the first, I resell on eBay. I'm an eBay reseller.
What's your
thing? Go ahead and give it. I was like, go ahead
open the door.
Plug that shit.
So long story short, I started a side hustle where I sell used stuff on eBay, and I started making a lot of money. And so when I first started, I was like pumped. I would be up at like 6 in the morning, sometimes 5. I'd be going to bed at midnight. I like wouldn't stop working until
going to garage sales.
And I told him, I was like, should I be worried? Should I go to bed? And he's like, well, it's just seasons. Like right now, you're feeling lit. So the whole point of the story is, it's the things that people tell their children. It's really damaging. Like the fact that I was told that growing up, like you're lazy. No. And I remember my friend, his son, has been told he's lazy, and recently he came over to the house and he's like, I'm just kind of lazy. And I was like, this is my opportunity. So I just said, hey, look, I was told I was lazy, and it turns out I wasn't. I just wasn't passionate. So once you find something you love, like you won't.
But there's a key to that too, though, because the adolescent doesn't know what they're passionate about, right?
Well, the adolescent is in too much shame.
Yeah.
Their passion is mad, like Greta. That's where their passions come. I'm mad because I'm so disempowered, and so my passion wants to go after the authorities because I'm mad at them.
That's a bit of my own aggression. Because when I get creative sometimes, I feel the passion, but it comes with this like, this is the face I make. Rick makes me, it's like this aggressive, like, and even when I have good ideas, sometimes I was telling you, it comes out in aggression, like,
well,
you know
tell
what
me
I mean?
what you, like, when we first started working, because we have a job outside of our channel where we work, and he said,
outside of her other job of eBay hustle.
He says, whenever I edit, Liz, like, I actually stop breathing.
Oh yeah, that used to be my pattern. I would be sitting there, and I'd catch myself because I got my computer and everything, and I'd start just doing my edit, but then by the end of it, I'd all of a sudden be feeling shitty, and my shoulders would be up, my hand would be on the mouse, and I'd be sitting there just, and I'd be like, oh my God, I haven't been breathing, and I'd sit there,
I forgot to breathe.
Yeah,
That's
just
crazy.
like, because it's tense.
He's like, my sphincter starts
My
tensing.
butthole.
You told me that.
Yeah, my
I was like,
butthole
"Ew, gross."
tightens.
You can cut that if you want. No, I don't
Leave
care.
that in.
You can
I
leave
know. This video is making me so nervous.
By the
I'm like,
way.
this feels like a wild train. We should just
Well, it's
stop.
good. We're just having wine, hanging, whatever.
Okay, let's cut so we can drink more.
Yeah, we'll title it that.
Okay.
Constricted buttholes.
No. All right. Should we say anything more, or should we go out to dinner together?
I don't know. Are you?
I
are
feel.
you
I mean, all
feeling
my thing is just sustaining, and I feel like discipline right now is the perfect thing for me to do with it. So I don't know what's like.
I just feel like
else
I don't know
to
what
go.
just happened.
I feel it's probably one of our best videos.
Okay.
that? Well, it's probably the most real thing someone's gonna watch this week.
Okay.
All right. Well, again, I'm Andrew
Another
Thompson.
fabulous episode by.
Okay, back to the format.
Yeah.
My name is Andrew Thompson. This is Rick Paris, Elizabeth Jackson, and this was Generating Sustaining Energies. Please watch the video if you're feeling it. Hit us up. Again, we always want the comments. We always want feedback, and we just want to build this even more. So hit us up.
Bring your A game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring your A game.
And bring questions, because it's awesome for us to have more questions for Rick to respond.
Yeah, I got plenty more for you.
Awesome.